All right, so you've gotten a market report from us and you need to know how to use this information. You want to know how a realtor or broker uses the information on a market report for your community. Well, there are 3 sections in the market report. The first is active properties, the second are properties under contract, and then the final section is our sold properties. Now, how do we use the active property section of the market report? I'm glad you asked. Our active properties on the market report help you price your property competitively in the market. Our aim as your realtor is to help you price that property in such a way that it has a competitive market advantage. Now, what do I mean by competitive market advantage? Let's say, for example, in your community, there's a home on the market at $150,000. Let's say there's another home on the market at $180,000. Let's say that your home is not as nice as the one that's $180,000, but it is better than the one at $150,000. We're probably gonna price your property somewhere in the middle. Now, why are we gonna price it at $165,000? Because we wanna ensure that you receive 2 things: the most amount of showings and the highest amount of offers. And by competitively pricing that property at $165,000, right there in the middle, right where it belongs, we're positioning your property to get the most traction and give it the highest probability of getting the most offers given your competition. We're giving you a competitive market advantage. Now, properties under contract. Basically, when you see other properties go under contract in your community, that lets you know that a buyer has chosen another property instead of yours. Whenever you sell a property, you're faced with the reality that you're either going to be selling your property or your neighbor's property, except if you're the only property on the market in your community. And even then, you're still competing with surrounding neighborhoods or nearby communities that have similar homes, because buyers, they're looking at price ranges. You know, they're looking from $350 to $450 or from $300 to $400 and things like that, generally for the most part, in my opinion. That said, they're looking at your neighborhood and the one right up the street and maybe even the one 15 minutes up the road. So even if you're the only neighborhood on the market in your home, you're still competing with the surrounding communities. All that said, when you have a realtor and you see that properties are going under contract in your community, in your neighborhood, that's a great time to ask the question to your realtor. Call your realtor on the phone, text them and say, listen, why are properties in my community going under contract and mine isn't? Why are buyers showing up and buying my neighbor's properties instead of mine? Those are some excellent questions to ask your realtor, and you can do that all by checking out the information on your market report. Now, the final section is the sold property section. The sold property section helps us best understand how to price your property so that buyers will buy it instead of it sitting on the market. You know, as a seller, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer, and you really have to ask yourself this question. You know, if I were buying my property, what would I sell it for? I mean, what would I pay for it? How much would I be willing to offer for my own property? And you have to have the realistic expectations, you know, checking out your neighbor's properties and yours and going, okay, it looks like, you know, that property's a little bit nicer than mine, and this one, mine's nicer than this one. You know, I'd be willing to pay X amount for this. I could see a buyer paying this much for it. Remember, when a buyer walks into your home, you want them to get excited about the deal that your home is. And you want them to get so excited that they can't pass it up and they've got to drop some significant cash to get it done. Now, finally, I'm gonna leave you with one bonus section. It's right in the sold properties part of your market report. It's called Days on Market. Now, Days on Market lets you know how successful the realtors are in your community at marketing your property and getting it sold. It's the average amount of time that you can expect for a sold property to take, given you know, its time on market and those realtors' ability to market and get that property sold. So the average amount of time that a property will need to get sold pretty much in your community. Well, guys, that wraps it up for the market report. If you can click anywhere else on the screen right now, you will see other videos that you can watch to learn about how to use your market report, how to get your home sold, you know, and understanding the market dynamics that really drive the Myrtle Beach market.